call the special meeting of the Board of Education to order at 5:30. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Stand. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one
to the
nation,
republic for which it stands,
indivisible,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all. Okay.
Thank you all, and thank you all for being willing to be here tonight. Just briefly, I want to check to see if there's any public comment. Brandon, I think I'm seeing everyone, and I don't see any public comment. Do you see anything on your end?
Everybody that wants to be in here is here, and I do not see any public comment.
All right, great. Well, then we are going to just move right into this. My hope is that we're out of here prior to 6 p.m. as Troy has another commitment. I appreciate you joining us tonight. I think the timing of this is really helpful. We have our end of the year financials. The Board of Finance would like to see our end of the year financials. Additionally, Troy is submitting them to Town Hall to be a part of the annual report, and that is due now as well. The Board of Selectmen have a meeting tonight. The Board of Finance has a meeting tomorrow night. And so Troy and Kathy approached Christine and I on Thursday evening to go over this with us, and then suggested it might be best if our board discussed this first, made a plan to move forward with this. And then I went to see the Board of Finance tomorrow to go over what we discussed. Although as I'm looking out into the Zoom, I see that a number of Board of Finance members are here with us tonight. So they'll maybe have a good understanding before I even get there tomorrow night. So you have in front of you the end of the year financials. And I think in a nutshell, what this says is at the end of the year, we are in the positive approximately $218,000. The last conversation that we had, we anticipated that number to be $54,000. And so this is a significant difference. I'm going to ask Kathy in just a minute to sort of walk us through how that happened. But I think now we need to talk a little bit about it, understand why it happened, and then make a plan. And once we discuss it a bit, I will talk about what Christine, Troy, and Kathy and I discussed on Thursday and see if that's a palatable plan to move forward with. So Kathy, do you just want to sort of quickly walk us through what we have here?
Kathy, why don't I start and you can jump in?
Fine.
Okay, so like Stephanie said, yeah, we have 218,000 to the good. The good thing is to the good and not to the bad. It's not, we didn't run out of money, so that's a positive thing. I think that Kathy and I did the best we could given what we had to try to make accurate projections throughout the year. To also manage the budget responsibly. And as you know, Kathy went after grant money, some grant money that was expiring from fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 24 that we would have been just giving back to the state, but yet she found areas in the budget to apply it to, meaning freeing up those budget dollars in this budget we're talking about, which is a lot of those grants were like one-time grants that aren't going to be reoccurring. I think that at the end of the year, we had more money than we thought we would have for a lot of reasons. And I think that moving forward with a budget that Kathy built, I think we're going to be able to more accurately predict where we're at. And now that we will have a better handle on the grants and the grant money available to us, we'll be able to more accurately predict where we're at. But there was a lot to do this year, as you know, a lot of problems to solve that Kathy had to focus on. And I think maybe given that we've have a lot of that out of the way, we're going to be able to put more attention into the projection of where we are with the budget moving forward. So I don't know if Kathy, you wanted to add anything to that?
Troy, is Kathy still on this call?
I don't see her. I just
I don't-
noticed that.
I don't see, she was here and now she's not. So,
She's coming back right now.
oh, perfect.
I
Okay.
think there was a connection issue.
Sure. So I think what I understood from Troy and Kathy last week, and Christine, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that she continued to receive money back on grants that perhaps weren't even from this year, were from 23, 24. And so I appreciate her work in getting those dollars back into our community and into our district. But I think that we all sort of note that it's hard to continue to expect one thing and then see another. And I think Kathy really expressed the other night that that she feels like now she understands these things. There shouldn't be anything else lying out there. And as she begins to administer the grant that the budget that she put together, things should move forward smoothly. But it doesn't change the fact that we are left with $218,000 instead of $54,000. So I think Troy and Kathy were pretty forward thinking in saying, why don't we deposit the $54,000 that we anticipated into the non-lapsing? That leaves us with roughly $164,000. What if we return that to the town to go into the undesignated fund? Troy and Kathy let us know the other night that they are anticipating that there could be a significant special education expense that would lead us to have to come to the town to ask for an appropriation. We're going to discuss that more. It's on the agenda for next Wednesday. I could tomorrow night make the Board of Finance aware that we do think that there could be something on the horizon. If they could sort of take this money and earmark it with that in mind, so that if we need that appropriation, we're not asking for any new money. It's there. And then if we don't, that just returns to the general fund of the town. And perhaps that way we are keeping, I guess maybe I just think it's the right thing to do. I think that's the easiest thing to say. Christine, do you want to jump in on this? You were there too.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off. I just think before we go forward with the plan, I think just for the record, it's really important to point out where those savings came from a little bit. I mean, a big bulk of it was employee benefits and salaries. So between the employee benefits, the salaries, and then you also see a big sort of savings and coming out of the tuition line item as well. So those are three things that you try to forecast for the best you can, you budget for the best you can, staffing changes throughout the year, things like that. I just, for those listening that maybe aren't a full understanding of the Board of Ed budget, to understand that was the bulk of where I'm seeing the savings when I'm looking at the report. So, there's also a lot of line items where we were unfavorable. I also know with transportation, we properly reallocated special ed transportation to where it should be. So just a couple things, if everybody's like, well, where did it come from? I think it's pretty clear that, the big three line items there, you can see kind of where that came from. And then, yeah, Stephanie, totally back to what you were saying. I think it makes perfect sense what you're proposing.
And so the other thing that we'll need to do tonight, so that I can have a real discussion with the Board of Finance tomorrow night, is vote to move this report over to them. We could get that out to them tonight. They can have tonight and tomorrow to look at it so that they can see the stuff that Christine is talking about right now. Troy, is there anything else that you want to add before
Yes.
I ask for questions?
Yeah, just one thing. I just want to point out that, you know, I think it is an advantage that we actually have a positive balance. But I wanted to point out that the positive balance equals 1.4 or 1.41% of the budget, and of a over $15 million budget, 1.4%. You know, we can by law put up to 2% into the non-lapsing, right? So I'm just pointing out that it's a lot of money to have, but percent wise, it's 1.4%. So I just point that out.
So I really appreciate that. But I think that we should remember, as we're thinking about this, what we have to do to get 1.4% added to our budget. Any of us who have been through the budget process understand that. And I think we also have to understand that this is after we sort of had that end of the year spend because we knew we'd have money. So I think
Right.
it more closely aligns to 2% when you add in that additional $70,000 that we knew we were going to be in the positive, and you were able to buy all that great stuff that the school needed at the
It's
end.
actually, to be specific, it would be 1.86%.
Right. So closer to 2, which, you know,
Yeah.
I don't want to minimize. I think it's very difficult. You know, we were asking for, in some cases, a point something percent increase.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't want to minimize the impact to our total budget or the work that we do at budget time. And that's why I think that if we acknowledge that while it's better that we're positive than short, this is not what we were forecasting. And it can be difficult every month to have credibility with the Board of Finance or the public if we're not predicting accurately. And it could be troublesome at budget time when they say, well, you had 2% extra last year. What are you asking for this year? That's why I think Kathy's explanation is perfectly appropriate and makes sense. But in addition to not only it making sense, I think we can say, we get that this is more than we thought, and in good faith, well, like you said, sure, we could put this right in our non-lapsing account, but I don't think that serves us right now. And I'm not sure that it serves the town. And so I think your idea of saying, let's return that money to the undesignated fund. We know that if we need an appropriation, there's that money there. And hopefully this works for everyone and continues to sort of build that trust that we've worked hard and that collaboration that we've worked hard on with the Board of Finance. Does anyone want to ask?
Can I just make a comment? First off, I love the plan that we're returning the difference in the balance to the undesignated fund. I think that's the correct thing to do in this space, because we had already been pushing the fact that this was the number that we had, and the fact that it's different now. I think that difference needs to get returned to the town. I do think we need to be careful about phrasing it as we're going to return this to the town. It's going to go into the undesignated fund with the idea that we might have this expenditure for special ed later. I think we should keep those two things separate, because I think this is one situation that occurred. And I think that when or if it comes up with the idea that we need to go and ask the town for appropriation, I think that needs to be on a separate page. I don't want it to seem like what we're saying is, hey, but remember we had extra money and we gave it back, because really the goal is that we wouldn't have that much extra money in the first place, and that if we got into a situation where we needed the appropriation, we would be asking for it. I'm not a huge fan of the optics of we're going to put it in there and have it earmarked. That would be my personal opinion, or asked to have it earmarked in that way. I think that we return it in good faith with the idea that this is where we thought we would be. This is where we thought we should be. This is more money than we needed. It can go into that same capital group of money that they're talking about moving things out of the undesignated fund into, because otherwise we're going to push that past 17% that they were talking about at the tri-board meeting. But I do believe that we keep those two things separate. That's just my opinion.
I totally hear your point, but I think in the spirit of transparency, especially knowing and again, we'll have a further discussion about this, that we likely have a significant expense and we may not be able to absorb that into our budget. I do think, especially as they're working on capital planning, our capital plans are due soon, and that they're working on their cap of 17%, that we should be really transparent, that while one doesn't mean the other, we have this and we know that there might be this coming. And so
I think informing them of the fact that it may be coming, I think is incredibly a positive step. I think that's what we need to do. But at the same time, I don't want it to feel like, hey, yes, we're gonna return this, but really we want it back, because then that feels somewhat.
Well, they would have to decide how that would be funded. But I think, and I note your concern, and I'll work on my phrasing for tomorrow night. Anyone else? Okay.
I make a motion to move the financials forward to the Board of Finance.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Brandon, were you able to see all of that?
I saw some, but it goes pretty quick when it's virtual like that.
Sure. Can everyone just hold all the eyes hold their hand up for a second? Oh, Jamie, that's a good idea. How's that, Brandon?
I am seeing 4 of you, so I have 4 votes.
All right, so it was everybody. It was all 7 who were on the meeting.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
I'm trying to type and look at the same time. Thank you.
I appreciate how difficult this. So 0 abstentions and no one is opposed. Thanks, Christine. Does anyone want to make a motion for me to propose our plan to return approximately $164,000? It would just be whatever is left after our 54. Kathy let us know the other day that they're still working. So she's working with Melissa at the town to make sure that their final numbers tie out.
I make a motion to move 54,000 of our overage into the non-lapsing account, returning the balance to the town.
I second.
Do we want to have any discussion about that? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. And again, if everyone can just leave their hands up for 1 second so Brandon can get an accurate count. Brandon, you let me know when you're good.
Thank you.
Okay. And was that everyone?
But Judy dropped off, I think.
Oh,
So
shoot.
6 of you.
She froze with her hand up on the last vote, and then I think,
Oh,
here
that's
she comes.
Judy,
Judy,
are
seven.
you an aye or a nay?
She just texted that
Yeah,
That
I
you-
just texted. I'm a yes.
Oh, I
Sorry.
see it. All right.
I'm at
Thanks,
football
Judy.
practice.
No, it's okay. You got to do what you got to do on these special meetings.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you all so much. So then I will. So the Board of Selectmen meet at 6:30 tonight. The Board of Finance meets tomorrow at 7. I'm on their agenda. Again, I really appreciate everyone jumping on board to address this quickly. I think it's only right that these are our numbers. We should be the first board that's discussing them as a board. So anybody else want to talk about this report any longer? Okay, then we will move into public comment.
I do not see any public comment.
Wonderful. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you again so much, everyone. Good night.
Have a good night.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.